Question for Dr. Bahnsen. Why is it so obvious that morality cannot exist without God? Aren't you making the mistake of assuming that reality is only a physically probable phenomena? Why can't reality be composed of a physical as well as an ethical law?
Well, I suppose if somebody wished to advance that worldview, it would be something similar to what Plato did. I'd be glad to appear at another debate and debate that worldview. But that is not the atheist worldview. The atheist worldview assumes that it's matter in motion and other forms. I mean, I could state it in a more sophisticated way if you want to go to a graduate course in philosophy, but you know what I'm getting at. But there have been worldviews that say you have matter and then you also have the realm of ideals or abstract notions, and you could have then ethics there, and you could have science in the material world. And the problem with that worldview is, as it was for Plato and everybody else who tries to be a dualist, is you can't bring the two together. You can't relate the two. You can't use the principles for one to explain, understand, or be in touch with the other. But the most important thing relevant to tonight's debate is that this is not an answer available to my opponent. Because if he wishes to assert that there are immaterial realities like moral absolutes, he's going to have to give some account of that that is consistent with his denial of the supernatural, the abstract, and the immaterial.
Thank you, Dr. Bahnsen. Mr. DeBosch, would you please respond to that?
Well, I think I'm just going to give such abstractions and demonstrate how they work in response to my opponent's challenge. And that is, we know that love can be experienced because love is what we define it. It doesn't have to be a supernatural phenomenon. Love doesn't have to go outside the realm of human experience because we define it as a feeling that we have. We don't define it as a separate invisible entity that floats around the universe. So if love can exist for the atheist, and I assert that it can, then I think that morality can exist for the atheist. In fact, I would say that the theist has a problem because the theist then has to justify this God's, and I'll use the term again, being asleep at the wheel when awful events happen in the universe. Also, the theist, the Christian theist, has to justify the books of the Bible where God does some very terrible things to some very innocent people, or essentially provides capital punishment for an offense no greater than jaywalking. And if you have this kind of a disproportionate divine hand slapping you down, then I think that the onus on justifying morality falls back on those who would defend the immoral acts of this colossal being. I refer again to the book of Numbers, which is in the Bible. No one can get away from it. God orders Moses to have a man stoned for nothing more than picking up sticks on the Sabbath. I mean, talk about a disproportionate punishment. That's very dangerous.